Part 1 of Chapter 8 outlines the establishment and role of the Kenyan Parliament. Here's a summary of the key provisions. 93. Establishment of Parliament. Article 93. The Parliament of Kenya consists of two houses, the National Assembly and the Senate. 94. Role of Parliament. Article 94. The legislative authority of the Republic is derived from the people and is vested in and exercised by Parliament. Parliament represents the diversity of the nation, embodies the will of the people, and exercises their sovereignty. Parliament has the power to consider and pass amendments to the Constitution and alter county boundaries as provided in the Constitution. The primary responsibility of Parliament is to protect the Constitution and promote democratic governance in the country. No person or body, other than Parliament, has the power to make laws in Kenya, except as authorized by the Constitution or legislation. Any act of Parliament or county legislation that confers the authority to make laws should specify the purpose, objectives, limits, nature, and scope of the law that may be made under that authority. 95. Role of the National Assembly. Article 95. The National Assembly represents the people of the constituencies and special interests in the country. It deliberates on and resolves issues of concern to the people. The National Assembly enacts legislation in accordance with the provisions of Part 4 of Chapter 8. It determines the allocation of national revenue between the levels of government and appropriates funds for expenditure by the national government and other national state organs. The National Assembly exercises oversight over national revenue and its expenditure. It reviews the conduct in office of the President, Deputy President, and other state officers and initiates the process of removing them from office if necessary. The National Assembly also exercises oversight over state organs. 96. Role of the Senate. Article 96. The Senate represents the counties and protects the interests of the counties and their governments. It participates in the lawmaking function of Parliament by considering, debating, and approving bills concerning counties. The Senate determines the allocation of national revenue among counties and exercises oversight over the national revenue allocated to county governments. It also participates in the oversight of state officers and is involved in the process of removing the President or Deputy President from office if required. The roles of both houses of Parliament, the National Assembly, and the Senate are crucial in ensuring effective representation, legislation, and oversight at both the national and county levels in Kenya. Part 2 of Chapter 8 focuses on the composition and membership of the Kenyan Parliament, which consists of the National Assembly and the Senate. Here's a summary of the key provisions. 97. Membership of the National Assembly. Article 97. The National Assembly consists of 290 members elected by registered voters of single-member constituencies. It also includes 47 women, each elected by registered voters of the counties constituting single-member constituencies. Additionally, 12 members are nominated by parliamentary political parties to represent special interests such as the youth, persons with disabilities, and workers. The Speaker of the National Assembly is an ex officio member. 98. Membership of the Senate. Article 98. The Senate consists of 47 members, each elected by registered voters of the counties constituting single-member constituencies. It includes 16 women members nominated by political parties based on their proportion of elected members in the Senate. The Senate also has 2 members representing the youth, 1 man and 1 woman, and 2 members representing persons with disabilities, 1 man and 1 woman. The Speaker of the Senate is an ex officio member. 99. Qualifications and disqualifications for election as Member of Parliament. Article 99. To be eligible for election to Parliament, a person must be a registered voter, satisfy prescribed educational, moral, and ethical requirements, and be nominated by a political party or run as an independent candidate with sufficient voter support. Disqualifications include being a state officer or public officer except for members of Parliament, holding certain offices, being a non-citizen, being a member of a county, Assembly. Being of unsound mind. Being an undischarged bankrupt. Having certain criminal convictions. Or being found to have misused or abused a state office. 100. Promotion of representation of marginalized groups. Article 100. Parliament is required to enact legislation to promote the representation of women, persons with disabilities, youth, ethnic and other minorities, and marginalized communities in Parliament. 101. Election of members of Parliament. Article 101. General elections for members of Parliament are held on the second Tuesday in August every 5 years. In case of a vacancy in the National Assembly or Senate, the respective speakers notify the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the relevant political party, and the vacancy is filled in the manner prescribed by law. 102. Term of Parliament. Article 102. The term of each House of Parliament expires on the date of the next general election. Parliament may extend its term by up to 6 months at a time, up to a total of 12 months if Kenya is at war, with a 2/3 majority resolution in each House. 103. Vacation of office of Member of Parliament. Article 103. The office of a Member of Parliament becomes vacant due to various reasons, including death, absence from sittings without permission, removal from office, resignation, change of political party affiliation, end of the term, or disqualification under specific circumstances. 104. Right of recall. Article 104. The electorate has the right to recall their Member of Parliament before the end of the term, and legislation will be enacted to provide grounds and procedures for recall. 105. Determination of questions of membership. Article 105. The High Court is responsible for hearing and determining questions related to the validity of a person's election as a Member of Parliament or if the seat of a member becomes vacant. These provisions govern the composition, qualifications, and disqualifications for members of Parliament in Kenya, as well as the procedures for filling vacancies and determining questions of membership. They also emphasize the promotion of representation for marginalized groups in Parliament. Part 3 of Chapter 8 deals with the offices and leadership roles within the Kenyan Parliament. Here's a summary of the key provisions. 106. Speakers and Deputy Speakers of Parliament. Article 106. There shall be a Speaker for each House of Parliament, National Assembly and Senate, and a Deputy Speaker for each House. The Speaker of each House is elected by that House in accordance with the Standing Order's internal rules and procedures and must be a person qualified to be elected as a Member of Parliament but not currently a member. The Deputy Speaker of each House is elected by the House from among its members. The office of the Speaker or Deputy Speaker becomes vacant under certain circumstances, including the end of a parliamentary term, the office holder vacating their seat in Parliament, a resolution of the relevant House, or resignation. 107. Presiding in Parliament. Article 107. During a sitting of a House of Parliament, the Speaker presides over the proceedings. If the Speaker is absent, the Deputy Speaker takes over. If both the Speaker and Deputy Speaker are absent, the House elects another member to preside. 108. Party leaders. Article 108. There are two party leaders in the National Assembly, the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party. The leader of the majority party is the person who leads the largest party or coalition of parties in the National Assembly. The leader of the minority party is the person who leads the second largest party or coalition of parties in the National Assembly. The order of precedence in the National Assembly is as follows: Speaker, Leader of the Majority Party, and Leader of the Minority Party. These provisions define the roles of speakers and deputy speakers in the Houses of Parliament and the leadership positions of the majority and minority parties in the National Assembly. The presiding officers, speakers, and deputy speakers are responsible for overseeing parliamentary proceedings, and party leaders play crucial roles in guiding the respective parties in legislative matters. Part 4 of Chapter 8 outlines the procedures for enacting legislation in the Kenyan Parliament. Here's a summary of the key provisions. 109. Exercise of legislative powers. Article 109. Parliament exercises its legislative power through bills passed by Parliament and assented to by the President. Bills may originate in the National Assembly, and any bill not concerning county government is considered only in the National Assembly. Bills concerning county government may originate in either the National Assembly or the Senate, depending on the subject matter, and are passed following specific procedures. 110. Bills concerning county government. Article 110. A bill concerning county government includes bills affecting the functions and powers of county governments, election of county assembly members and executives, and those related to county finances. Such bills are either special bills relating to specific issues or ordinary bills covering other matters. The determination of the type of bill is made jointly by the Speakers of the National Assembly and Senate. 111. Special bills concerning county governments. Article 111. Special bills concerning county governments proceeds in the same manner as ordinary bills concerning county governments but with some specific requirements. The National Assembly may amend or veto a special bill passed by the Senate only by a 2/3 majority. If the National Assembly rejects the Senate's amendment, the bill is referred back to the President for assent. 112. Ordinary bills concerning county governments. Article 112. If one house passes an ordinary bill concerning counties, and the second house rejects it or passes it in an amended form, the bill is referred back to the originating house for reconsideration. If the originating house approves the amended bill, it is referred to the President for assent. 113. Mediation committees. Article 113. If there is a disagreement between the two houses on an ordinary bill concerning counties, a mediation committee with members from both houses attempts to develop a version that both houses will pass. If the mediation committee agrees on a version of the bill, both houses vote to approve or reject it. If the mediation committee fails to agree or if the proposed version is rejected, the bill is defeated. 114. Money bills. Article 114. A money bill deals only with specific financial matters, such as taxes, public money, loans, and related issues. The National Assembly may proceed with a money bill only after considering the views of the Cabinet Secretary responsible for finance. 115. Presidential assent and referral. Article 115. The President has 14 days to either assent to a bill or refer it back to Parliament for reconsideration, with any reservations noted. If the President refers the bill back for reconsideration, Parliament may amend the bill or pass it again without amendment. If Parliament fully accommodates the President's reservations, the bill is resubmitted to the President for assent. 116. Coming into force of laws. Article 116. A bill passed by Parliament and assented to by the President is published in the Gazette as an Act of Parliament. Most acts come into force on the 14th day after publication, unless otherwise stipulated. Acts conferring direct pecuniary interest on do not come into force until after the next general election. Part 5 of Chapter 8 outlines the general procedures and rules of the Kenyan Parliament. Here's a summary of the key provisions. 117. Powers, privileges, and immunities. Article 117. There shall be freedom of speech and debate in Parliament. Parliament may define the powers, privileges, and immunities of Parliament, its committees, party leaders, and members for the orderly and effective discharge of parliamentary business. 118. Public access and participation. Article 118. Parliament shall conduct its business in an open manner, and its sittings and committee sessions shall be open to the public. Public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees shall be facilitated. The exclusion of the public or media from any sitting must be justified in exceptional circumstances. 119. Right to petition Parliament. Article 119. every person has the right to petition Parliament on any matter within its authority, including proposing, amending, or repealing legislation. Parliament shall provide for the procedure to exercise this right. 120. Official languages of Parliament. Article 120. The official languages of Parliament shall be Kiswahili, English, and Kenyan Sign Language, and parliamentary business may be conducted in any of these languages. In case of conflicts between different language versions of an Act of Parliament, the version signed by the President takes precedence. 121. Quorum. Article 121. The quorum for the National Assembly shall be 50 members, and for the Senate, it shall be 15 members. 122. Voting in Parliament. Article 122. Decisions in both Houses of Parliament are determined by a majority of members present and voting. The Speaker does not vote, and in case of a tie, the question is considered lost. A member with a pecuniary interest shall not vote on any question. 123. Decisions of Senate. Article 123. All senators registered as voters in a particular county collectively constitute a single delegation for voting purposes. Matters affecting counties are voted on by county delegations, with each delegation having one vote. In matters not affecting counties, each senator has one vote. 124. Committees and Standing Orders. Article 124. Each House of Parliament may establish committees, and standing orders shall be made for the orderly conduct of parliamentary proceedings, including those of committees. Joint committees consisting of members from both houses may be established and regulated jointly. The proceedings of either house are not invalidated by a vacancy in its membership or the presence of unauthorized individuals. Approval for appointments required under the Constitution or Acts of Parliament is considered by a committee of the relevant House before tabling for approval. 125. Power to call for evidence. Article 125. Either House of Parliament and its committees have the power to summon any person to provide evidence or information. Parliament and its committees have the same powers as the High Court to enforce attendance, examine witnesses, compel document production, and issue commissions for examining witnesses abroad. Part 6 of Chapter 8 covers miscellaneous provisions related to the Kenyan Parliament. Here's a summary of the key points. 126. Location of sittings of Parliament. Article 126. A sitting of either House of Parliament may be held at any place within Kenya and can commence at any time appointed by the House. When a new House is elected, the President, through a notice in the Gazette, shall appoint the place and date for the first sitting of the new House, which should be within 30 days after the election. 127. Parliamentary Service Commission. Article 127. The Parliamentary Service Commission is established to oversee various functions related to the efficient functioning of Parliament. The Commission consists of the Speaker of the National Assembly as the chairperson, a vice-chairperson elected from among the appointed members, 7 members appointed by Parliament 4 nominated equally from both houses by the party or coalition of parties forming the national government, and 3 nominated by the parties not forming the national government, and 2 persons experienced in public affairs who are not members of Parliament. The Clerk of the Senate serves as the Secretary to the Commission. The Commission's responsibilities include providing services and facilities for Parliament's functioning, appointing and supervising office holders in the parliamentary service, preparing annual estimates of expenditure, promoting parliamentary democracy, and performing other functions for the well-being of members and staff of Parliament. 128. Clerks and Staff of Parliament. Article 128. Each House of Parliament shall have a clerk, appointed by the Parliamentary Service Commission with the approval of the relevant House. The offices of the clerks and other staff of the clerks shall be part of the parliamentary service.